How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to cover what I'm going to be stockpiling in preparation for the launch of Shadowlands. Some of these items are going to be from methods I have used in the past at other expansion launches, and they tend to be a very good profit at the beginning of the expansion. The other items are going to be my opinion and guess that these will see an increase in price come Shadowlands. Now, there are a few different ways to stockpile items. Obviously, the first way would be to go out and farm all the materials yourself. This can be pretty time consuming as you're going to want to have quite a bit of each material at the start. The other method, if you have a good amount of gold saved up, is to buy out the materials for a cheap price now and sell them at a higher price when Shadowland launches, since most likely people will not be farming those methods anymore, or at least at the start. This can definitely be a gamble as we might not see an uptick in price come Shadowlands, but that's part of the fun of gambling. Come Shadowlands, everyone's main focus will be leveling up and farming out the current expansion materials. A main reason we see such a drastic drop in prices on the materials over the course of time is due to the multi-boxing community driving the price down, and they too will be moving to greener pastures once Shadowlands hits. Now, enough of the reasons why, let's hop into it and find out what the methods are. Be sure to turn on your notifications, make sure you have that bell rung, and drop a like so you don't miss any of my future content. If you have any questions, drop a comment or tweet at me. The first method I'm going to go over are the mounts you want to either craft, have the materials to make, or go ahead and do the farms for. The first mount I'm going to talk about, and I think it is going to be a huge gold maker at the start of Shadowlands, is the Sky Golem. The mount is selling pretty consistently now for around 40 to 50,000 gold on my server, and that's a pretty big drop from what it used to be. From the data we have so far, it looks like the herb market is going to be even better than usual because of the changes to the way professions work in Shadowlands. I could see this mount doubling in price at the start and going from 80,000 to 100,000 gold depending on the supply on your server. I would have the materials ready to craft the mount, but I would hold off on actually crafting because you could make even more profit off just selling the materials. If you wanted to go out and farm all the materials needed, then you can definitely do that as well. You are going to need 30 living steels and 30 Jard's peculiar energy sources. The living steels are going to be a transmute from your alchemist, so you want to make sure you have one of those available to you. Both of these are going to require a decent amount of ghost iron ore. Valley of the Four Winds is probably the best place to farm that. Now, both of these are going to be locked to daily cooldowns to create the item, so just keep that in mind. Either way, I believe this is going to be a must for everyone that is going to be stockpiling items to have in their bank. The second mount I'm going to go over is the mount from the Abyssal Fragments. The Najatar Blood Serpent is the mount you get from collecting 20 Abyssal Fragments, and then you can summon the Adherent of the Abyss, which drops the mount. I remember when the Abyssal Fragments were selling for easily 10,000 gold apiece. Now they are less than 1,000 gold on most servers, as when the Naga invasions are up they drop more often. I would anticipate there not being too many in the market once Shadowlands hits, so you will be able to set your own price on these, and we should see a huge uptick in price since no one will be farming these. Another mount that we have seen drop in price a ton is the Reigns of the Tamed Bloodfeaster. Again, this mount was well over 100,000 gold until multi-boxers farming in Nazmir dropped the price significantly. Right now, since the drop chance is so low, it is faster to just go farm some other method to make 10,000 gold or whatever the mount is going for on your server than actually to farm this mount. If you don't have it, then I suggest doing that now, as once the multi-boxers move on, this one is going to go up in price a lot because it is actually a rare drop chance. For that reason, I would buy up as many as you want to have a few to start Shadowlands, as the mount is pretty cool looking, and unless others already bought it, they will probably not be able to get it to drop later on. Worst case scenario, since it's so cheap right now, you will only be out a little gold with a very high chance of hitting big. The last mount I'm going to talk about to farm up is going to be the Vial of the Sands mount. Now, this is one that expansion after expansion has been an extremely high selling item. The materials continue to see a dip in price as well as the overall mount sale on most servers right now. A lot of others have already stopped trying to sell because it isn't worth their time anymore. I always have a few of these in my bank just in case the price decides to increase randomly because there are none on the auction house. If you guys are interested, here's a video on how to get the materials for the volatile farming spots. I recently did a video on if it was worth to still be doing these farms, but you guys can use it to see where all the farming spots are. I suggest you guys start stockpiling all the volatiles, Pyrium bars, and true gold bars you can get your hands on, because without a doubt, this is going to be a hot seller come launch. I am personally going to be putting most of my time and effort into this mount and the Sky Golem, as I think those will see the highest return come launch. Moving on from mounts, I wanted to talk about some transmog farms that I think will see an uptick in sales, at least for the materials behind them, because again, no one is going to be farming old materials at the start for the most part. I believe all of the primals will be worth farming, but the ones that will probably see the most profit are going to be the Primal Air and Primal Fires, since they are tied to some higher selling transmogs. The location for the Primal Airs is going to be in the Outlands. Head over to the Shadow Moon Valley in the Outlands and go between the Sanctum of Stars and the Dragon Maw's Fortress. Here you're going to be targeting the enraged air spirits and collecting motes of air. The location for the Primal Fires is going to keep you in the Outlands, but head over to the Hellfire Peninsula to the Throne of Kil'jaeden. Here you will be looking for the motes of fire that are dropped by the incandescent Fellsparks. I would have a few stacks of each of these going into launch just because we should see an uptick in overall sales price for these items, but again, I wouldn't put all your efforts into this farm. Let's switch gears completely now and talk about some fishing farms. The Sandshifter is used in Dimitri's Drought of Deception potion that I believe will come in handy in Shadowlands. To craft this Invisibility Potion, you will need Sandshiftrz and Sea Stalk. Both of these materials are selling for absolutely nothing right now, so it would be a good opportunity to scoop these up and place them in your bank for now. If you did want to farm out these materials, then the best place to fish for Sandshiftrz would be pretty much anywhere in Nazmir. For the Sea Stalk, I would recommend farming those in Stormsong Valley along the coastline. Depending on how much gold you have to invest, I would probably just stick with buying these out from the auction house since the prices are so low. These invisibility potions are usually a hit at the beginning of expansion so people can skip around in mythic dungeons or to avoid certain mobs in certain areas. With the implementation of Torghast, I think there would be an even bigger market for these come Shadowlands. Now I saved one of the most obvious ones for the end and the last one I'm going to talk about. Goblin Gliders have always been and will continue to always be hot selling items when you aren't able to fly at the beginning of expansions. They are hands down the best way to get around, especially when you're trying to get from point A to point B faster. I find no reason this won't be the same case for Shadowlands, and I highly suggest you start stockpiling these now. There has been mention that there will be new Goblin Gliders for Shadowlands, so this could make these not work in the same way, but this hasn't been the case in the past, so I think we are safe here. Now this method is one that is known by almost every person that has ever thought about stockpiling items in preparation for a new expansion, so the market is going to be very competitive with this. I still think it will be worth it to have a stockpile of these, but with the unknown of the new gliders and the competition, you might want to focus on some of the other methods on the list instead, and just have a few stacks of these for reserve. Worst case scenario here is you have something to use for yourself. Well, there you have it, guys. There are the items I'm going to be stockpiling in preparation for the launch of Shadowlands. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to let me know your plans for the preparation for Shadowlands. Please drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.